Welcome to a brand new video, everybody. My name is Faze Crypto, and I've actually gotten a lot of requests to make this video. In particular, there's been a lot of very interesting news about Tron TRX. A new decentralized exchange on the Tron network is now live. This is definitely some interesting news. We'll be getting into detail about the larger implications of decentralized exchanges later on in this video. But first, I think that it's interesting to address certain news articles like this one, how the bear market will boost development on the Tron TRX network. Now, you see in the current market, with the 110 market cap where it is, things sort of moving sideways, relatively seeing a lot of red in the, all the way across the board. Pretty regularly we see some red. Today is sort of the exception because we've been seeing such a hit to the cryptocurrency space happening so often. Every once in a while you're going to get days that appear to be in the green, but I would say that the dark times are still sort of ahead. I'm not going to make any predictions that are going to say that we're going to exit outside of this bull market anytime soon, which is why I think that it's very interesting to see technologies like Tron trying to leverage the current situation that they exist in and essentially make the best of a bad situation rather than just waiting for the market to recover on its own. And I think that this is definitely a really great tactic that Tron's employing in this regard, based on the fact that Tron has essentially already proved its worth, being in the top 10 crypto. It has a reputation that's uncontestable in the larger sense of the concept of where cryptocurrency is headed. And by this, I essentially mean that Tron has for itself solidified a pretty decent future in the world of cryptocurrency. I mean, depending on where things are actually going to go and how soon, I think as long as Tron can essentially go about their business, they should be pretty fine. I have pretty good faith in Tron to survive the market cap and the cryptocurrency purge that we're currently seeing. Now, I don't say the same for all these cryptocurrencies. Now, I think that right now we're witnessing a pretty pivotal point in the cryptocurrency space, one where a lot of people's favorite cryptos are going to get entirely wiped off the map. And this isn't even the worst news. I mean, the fact of the matter is that some great projects will probably get wiped off the map as well, which is why it's important to sort of be walking on eggshells when you do your research about these different things and sort of have your interest in alignment with reality, because there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to try and sell you a barrel of goods, and you'll end up with an empty bag, and essentially we don't want that to happen. I think that this channel has basically been built around sharing quality information and essentially trying to get everybody to think more realistic about the real implications about the technologies that are being discussed on this channel. And I'm not going to sit here and be pessimistic either, because I'm fairly certain that cryptocurrency has its place in the future. When you try to imagine people using paper, anything in the future, it's sort of wishful thinking for people who are trying to hold on to a bygone era. The fact of the matter is that blockchain is here to stay. The future is decentralized, and I would say that Justin Sun's project is definitely positioning itself in a way that's going to be fairly significant. So X-Mix Vibe from Changely and Tron, Merry Christmas holiday vibes. This is an interesting one as well, and I think that Tron's been doing an interesting job with games and a lot of these different things that are basically getting its foot in the door with the already active side of the internet, which I think is something that's important for the ecosystem, but not only in the Tron ecosystem, but I think that all these different things like Tron Chat and these different variables that are sort of compiling together are definitely going to create an interesting scenario where Tron can essentially come at the space from so many different angles. I think that the decentralized components that Tron has going for it are definitely going to be an interesting thing to pay attention to in regards to the way that we see this technology developing. the Nitron Summit. Definitely some very interesting things happening in that regard. So when we talk about cryptocurrency as a large, there's obviously going to be many different articles out that try to just like essentially they're vultures, trying to pick at the bones of the market cap when things are down. Now, obviously, they're free to make any clickbait titles that they want, but I think that it's interesting for everybody who's concerned not to get too distracted by the day-to-day when it comes to these things, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm 100% looking forward to the long term when it comes to cryptocurrency. And of course, the hold on for dear life, the HODL method might not necessarily be the best method for people who are feeling that anxiety, watching their portfolio go down and up and really riding the volatility of the whole thing. But then again, it's sort of a catch-22, because when the bull run happens, you don't want to be the person who's left without any crypto. So there's those of us who've been in this space long enough, had time to take profits and all these different things. Those of us who are essentially aligning ourselves and ready for what's yet to come. But not everybody has the liberty of that sort of perspective. And I understand this, and I think that this is something that Tron is fundamentally aware of. And I think that people who are aware of what the truth is going to be, definitely have an idea of what Tron's building. Tron-based decentralized exchange to begin. I think that this is really going to be pivotal as far as what cryptocurrencies are going to move beyond. The future is decentralized in all aspects of the word. And when we talk about decentralized crypto exchanges, it seems only logical that people would be using a decentralized. Why are people using centralized exchanges when they're trying to trade decentralized technologies like cryptocurrency? To me, it just doesn't make any sense. So I think Tron's definitely right along the right path with this line of thinking, and I think that it's going to be making a fairly significant have a role to play in the developments that we see happening. So Tron, Justin Sun coming out with his proposal to cut energy costs of Tron smart contracts. I think that this is a brilliant idea coming from Justin Sun. I think that it's one that will definitely pay off in the long term. In particular, we see the energy costs of that were established before for a lot of these different cryptos are coming back to haunt them. In particular, when we see things like Bitcoin losing 90% of its value, or different cryptos across the board getting hit really hard by the volatility that you can't really predict, because there's really no one single cause that brings us to a bear market or a bull market. It's essentially the culmination of a bunch of different variables coming together. So Insight Chain as the current time winner at the time of making this video. Of course, Bitcoin Private has always been doing fairly interesting. We've got Electronium up there, and of course EOS. We'll be making videos on all of these topics in the future very shortly. And then of course the cryptos that are getting hit the hardest are always an indication of something or other. You tell me. And it's interesting to see though. And then I think Justin Sun is definitely a person that I'm willing to put my faith in. I think that when it comes to blockchain and the blockchain revolution, and essentially seeing how these different technologies are going to be ironed out, for me, it's always helps me sleep at night to put my confidence in people who are, in my opinion, competent. And I think Justin Sun's definitely a competent player in the cryptocurrency space. So certainly looking forward to seeing what January 17th and 18th, 2019 is going to have in store for us. That Nitron Summit, all these different things coming together in seemingly what is a short amount of time, but the developments are actually happening faster than people can possibly imagine. I mean, obviously, when it comes to regulations and all these different things, cryptocurrency is sort of slow to move because the adaptation of new technologies always is like it's just a snail, because it involves so many different players and actors all the way around the globe. wild, but I think that Tron definitely does have a good, interesting method to fast track their development. And of course, I think that crypto itself is issue for interesting retribution in 2019. And I think a lot of the people who are taking a crap on the reputation of a lot of these different cryptocurrencies are going to be eating their words when the rest of us are driving around in Lamborghinis and all this different stuff. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys are interested, you guys can follow us on our official Twitter, and that's at CryptoTuber. And yeah, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. It's interesting to see how the different cryptocurrencies have been acting, especially in this market. I think this market's a real indication of what cryptos actually have something to offer versus the ones that are probably going to get smited off the face of the earth with the competition as things continue to get heated up. But that's, of course, just one man's humble opinion. Now, obviously, remember, this video is just my opinion, and obviously, I'm not your dad. This video is not any kind of advice or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I think that it's interesting for all of us to 10-year sought for Bitcoin exchange, CEO embezzlement, Bitcoin to a decentralized organism, Bitcoin, the application and the math. And one other thing that I think goes without saying for Tron is that in the age of the decline of Facebook, in the age of the decline of Twitter, all these different centralized social media platforms getting hit left and right just because they're looking outdated in comparison to the current technologies that are available. And I think that Tron definitely stands a huge chance to pick up where all these old social media platforms fail, and also when they're getting hit left and right in the news with all these different issues that Zuckerberg and all these others have been running into when it comes to data. I think that something like Tron definitely does posit an interesting chance to essentially really shake the foundation of the way that people comprehend the real implications on a broader scale of what cryptocurrency brings to the table. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Long live Tron, I guess. And remember, stay relevant, everybody. Have a good one.